Greetings everyone, here's Lodrik, and this is the Game War in the Pacific Admits Edition. This is my play-by-email match against KilRoy. He is the player for the Allied side, and for me it is Japanese. This is scenario 1 with no modification, 1 day turn setup, so the common one. We arrived at the 8th March 1942. My operations Java, Philippines, Borneo, Malaya, and more or less in Sumatra are over. KilRoy just lost 2 of his British battleships, Prince of Wales and, near Numaya. And I think he also already tries with his carrier fleet to attack the Marshall Islands. This is weak after, I think, 2-3 days ago I took it over, and now this some Allied cruiser task force making here some bombardment attack and disabling and destroying base equipment, let's say this. This is my poor rowboat, gets attacked last turn, have some flotation damage. At the same time I use some very light Navy Guard units to picking up all of the dot bases around Rabaul. This is another rowboat getting also attacked. So KilRoy have here corvettes patrolling, I think, the coastline between Sydney and Brisbane, and it's getting dangerous for my subs. I mean, I can stay here in deep water and have always a chance to escape, but it's getting more troublesome for me to stay so close to the ports. We enter the air war, and China is more or less bombardment of Chinese troops here in the open, killing many of these Chinese, and at the same time out of Palm Bank I sent my bombers to suppress this British division. And again, for this for this ground attacks, I normally always try to use only army bombers and not navy bombers. There's still, navy bombers are really, the main purpose is scouting the seas, training for torpedo attacks, and this is, I think, what really Nell and Betty bombers are supposed to do, not for ground attack. Maybe in the first 1 or 2 weeks of the war, but even at that time, there must be a split in priority what the air wing have to do. So these are these Chinese bombers. They are still attacking me here in the mountains. Luckily, the terrain is so rough, it's really hard to hit. It's hard for KilRoy to hit me, and the same would be if I attack his forces. So I stop bombarding Chinese units in rough terrain. If it's normally makes sense. I can get some training for the pilots, that is true, but if you are short on supplies, I would maybe say better go for training. So more or less, KilRoy sent his scouts from East Australia to Port Moresby, and I sent my recon airplanes from Port Moresby to east of Australia, and we're making pictures of each other. But there's no active air war. There's also no Navy units there. It is very, on hold. The whole area northeast of Australia, no one have any investment there. I took Port Moresby, and then I'm fine with this. And KilRoy have maybe other plans to focus his assets. And it's also beginning of March, so of course, first in May, maybe the allies are getting enough equipment that they maybe think about counter-striking. So bombardment in Changsha, only to maybe weaken the defense. Now my Navy Guard unit is trying to get rid of all of this leftover Australian forces from Port Moresby, Boona, and they're retreating, not surrendering. Not that there's one unit gets destroyed for running, and they're running back for this coastline, south of Boona. Okay. Good. So no big surprise. My subs found no target, but KilRoy find my subs. Air loss is only operational. Ship sunk. Nothing. No sinking sound. No successful torpedo attack from my subs this time. But cannot be successful every day. So in China I get problems with with supplies again. I barely can keep here in Shanghai 3 times the supplies. The big cities are always a good indication how is the situation, because normally in Shanghai you must have always, Shanghai is one of the cities will have always priority if you don't set something special up. So if I want here normally 5,000 multiplied 3, so I need normally at least 15,000 I have here normally, and then this is the minimum. So I have only a surplus of roughly 2,000 supplies. And this tells you that there are really not enough supplies in China around to feed everyone. If I have here maybe 30,000 supplies in Shanghai, I would say, okay, this looks better. Because then I know, okay, if in Shanghai I have a stock of enough supplies, additional supplies, then all of the rest is also fine. But because in Tokyo, my number 1 is also, it's just barely the 3 times and a little more, so there is no additional supplies. If I would have enough additional supplies, I would send from this location more to Shanghai. I do this already. I ship a little supplies to Shanghai, but only the minimum amount. The minimum amount I have more or less left over from Japan. I can afford to ship to China to more or less feed the minimum movement and fighting in China and air activity. So nothing else here, no air war over Rangoon. My Oscars are in rest mode and repair mode. I still don't arrive in the swarms, and it's very slow. The amount of damage I can create on these British units are very limited. And all of these islands in the Dutch East Seas around Timor are still to take over. But my forces are closing in on Kendari, so maybe in 2 turns I can arrive. Then I take this big Dutch force out. So this Australian forces are kicked out of these mountains, and now it's the coastline. So because there's no road, I will maybe first walk back to Boona or to Port Moresby, and maybe I use other forces to make amphibious assault here. I don't know. The other option is to walk here, but this needs 2 weeks maybe to arrive. I think it's faster to walk back to Buna, load the ships, and then make a Fiebischer assault. Maybe I've had higher casualties, but this is also malaria zone, so if your unit's staying here not in the base, you also have casualties every day. It's always not easy. So the British are no more to see. Was not able. I sunk, I think, last turn 1 destroyers on the way back to Sydney. This was a success, but it is enough. My sub is heavily damaged here with high flotation damage. And here is some low, small cargo ship running around. Marshall Islands looks empty. There was this bombardment of Wake. The base is damaged, and this will consume a lot of my supplies. My Navy Guard units is fine. No disruption, no fatigue. Everything is in order. But yeah, Wake is of course not possible to use for any Air Force activity or subs or whatever. It is only to make sure that there is no allied unit in this hex now. Good. Thank you all. See you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.